Okay, members and friends, I'm back to doing this stuff pretty much by myself. I hired this guy, $12 an hour. Obviously, he started doing some stuff over there. You know, he worked a little bit on this. He started with the cold room, I'll show you in a bit. Because of these potatoes, we don't know how many we're gonna get. And my son's in college, and he has no money, and he's like, well, why are you paying him and not me? And anyway, I'm doing this by myself. I can't afford to pay a guy $12 an hour, never mind that I can afford to pay my son $10 an hour. So, anyway, we'll see what happens. Be back. Okay, so I think I'm gonna call this one, It's a Crime If You Don't Want Your Stuff Getting Ruined. Like, honest to fucking God. People treat you like you're a freaking criminal when you trying to protect your stuff from getting ruined from the elements. You know how hard this is to try and do by myself? I'm in here, you know, underneath the tarp. You see? Well, I'm trying to figure this shit out. Okay, all I proceeded to do was probably just make another leaky boat. Seriously, without getting too freaking mad about it. I'm gonna have to run a stick or something down here. Hammer that in. As soon as it rains, it's gonna start leaking. Because that ain't covered up. I ain't got no money. I owe some dude $200 already. He only owes me maybe about 3-4 hours, that's it. $12 an hour. He's already done like 2 days, right? From 9 o'clock until 2:30. Well, first day was actually 9:30 to 2:30, but whatever. He's saying 9, so 9. The second day was from 9 until 3:30, and he was working pretty hard, but, you know, this is the stuff that I need, right? Anyway, my son thinks that I shouldn't be paying for this stuff, and technically he's right. I really can't afford to be paying somebody to come in here and do this stuff properly. Because anytime I try and do something, it just leaks like a leaky boat, right? And everything gets ruined as usual. So, didn't have to make shelves, I found that. So that's kind of a bonus. So anyway, I'm going inside for a cup of tea and I'll figure it out. Be back. And when you look at it from this angle, I mean, 4 years ago when my son helped me, we never put a middle beam in, and you've seen what happened. It was sinking in. So for my son to sit up there and say, "Oh, it's easy, you know, nothing to do with carpentry is easy." Yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay. If carpentry was so easy, where is he now? And why am I having to pay people? Because he doesn't feel this stuff is important any more than my landlord feels that it's important, because to have my stuff outside get all dirty and grimy and shit, you know, I mean, I'm not supposed to have stuff. She says, don't spend no money on this yard. It's an old house. Don't spend money. Yeah, okay. Well, if you like living in mud and fucking weeds and morning glory and sand, raccoon shit. I don't have a proper garage. I don't have a proper storage porch. I'm talking. I'm talking. I don't have a proper storage. I don't have a proper porch. I don't have a proper garage. I don't have a proper freaking yard. So you do the math. Alrighty, old members and friends. So I'm just sitting here talking to my dad about this place. And just, you know, just what's going on with this place. Right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Come November, December of this year will be 5 years. So we're into the 4.5 year. And, you know, in the last, 5 days, 6 days? Has it been 5 or 6? I know it's been 5. But I think it's been 6, really. I've been outside. I was outside from 11 o'clock yesterday until 8 o'clock in the evening. 11 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening. And then the day before that, I ended up finding some shelving and that type of stuff. So I didn't really do any yard work because that fellow was working, but I was still driving around, and I picked up some shelving and some wood and stuff like that. So that put me at what, 3-4 hours outside.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Here comes the teacher.
Hold on a minute.
Here.
Okay, so anyway, as I was saying, and then day before Monday, because what's today? Monday? Today's Monday. So I'm out there. You seen me in that shed putting up the plastic. So today's Monday. Yesterday, Sunday, I was out from 11 o'clock until 8 o'clock doing the front yard, mowing and weeding, that kind of thing. That's how long it took. And day before that, I was gathering wood and like bookshelves and that type of stuff that people put on the road curbside, right? So I kind of scored with that. So I couldn't pass that up because I'm getting short on wood. Believe it or not, I'm getting short on wood. And day before that, I was outside pretty much all day with that guy, right? And then the day before that, before he showed up, potatoes and whatnot, right? So we'll say 6 going on to the 7th day in a row. And don't forget, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I came into contact with some raccoon shit. Remember when I showed it on the video? Well, 2 days in a row after I came into the first initial stages of it, what I showed you, I had already come into contact with it the day before or something. Actually, no. What I showed you is what I went back and cleaned up. And then from that point forward, because I have glaucoma, so 40% pressure technically puts me into the emergency ward. So, but I have teeth problems, and it's not gingivitis because I've been complaining about this tooth for how long now? 4 or 5 years? It's just getting worse. It's spreading, right? And the dentist wants to say it's some sort of something that's relating to gingivitis. I said, well, why not my whole mouth? Why is it just in there? That came from there. So I think I'm just going to pull those out. So I got this pressure, right? And this ringing in my ears, don't forget. And it squeals and it screams sometimes, right? And so anyway, cleaned up the raccoon poop, right? And the next morning, I had a big glob of something. I don't know what the hell it was. It was gross. Next day, not so bad. The first day was a little bit of blood in there too, right? And then the second day it wasn't so bad. And then after that it was fine. But I have the pressure. It's built up the pressure, right? Because it's in my nasal. Because I'm always breathing in this mud and this dirt and the dust and the histamines from the morning glory when I'm pulling out the roots. And like, I'm sick of it, people. I'm so sick of it. My landlady comes for the rent and she says, because there's that big gaping hole in the front, right? And I told her I hired somebody, right? I asked her, I said, please don't raise the rent for a long time because I'm having to pay somebody to help me with some of this stuff because it's just too big, right? The yard is too big. It has too many problems. I didn't get into that. I just said, I'm hiring somebody to kind of help me along here a little bit. Please don't raise the rent. And she said, well, don't spend any money. It's an old house. And I'm like, in my head, I can't say it to her. She's my landlady. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's easy for you to say because you don't live in it. Sure, it's an old house, but I live in this house. And my family lives in this house. And it's actually a sturdy house. It doesn't creak. And I got it packed with a lot of weight. It can hold a lot of weight. And if an earthquake comes, it's got the proper door frame so that you can stand underneath there and survive the earthquake. And I'm like to my dad, like, before we get to that, let's just kind of continue with the raccoon. So, okay, so I came into contact with the raccoon shit, 7, 8 days ago, whatever it was. For 2 days, I had symptoms of something. And then it that cleared up, but, this area is because I have pressure in my eyes, so it doesn't help when I'm breathing in all this crap in the yard that's floating around in the air as I'm shoveling it around, right? Pulling it out, carrying it over my back, carrying it in a bucket. Fuck. She didn't shovel yet, right? You know, try to not breathe it in. Hold your breath, right? So, okay. And I'm still working, and then my daughter caught a cold, so now it's worse, right? And today, you know, I've just come to the realization that I'm alone out there. Even when I try and hire somebody, this guy that's working in the yard, well, just up until 2 days ago, he's like, what, number 7 for sure that we know of. And I think there's still one more I'm missing. Right, John?
Yeah.
Well, if I factored in that guy that brought home that stuff and washed those woods for me, those boards, because I salvage wood, so you have to wash them preferably before you use them, right? Because then they don't mold as quickly, right? You kill the mold. So he was homeless, and I needed some stuff brought from the field, so he pushed it back for me, and you know, he needed some money and food and a pack of smokes, so I said, well, here's some work for you, right? Wash the boards. And so he'd be number 8 that we can think of since we've lived here. People doing different things. Well, currently, this last fella that's been on site has been working for $12 an hour. The only thing is, I specifically told him I need it for the framing of things, because I'm not a framer. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not trying to be a carpenter. I just do what I think I can do if it needs to be done. But the problem with the thing is, my landlady doesn't value what I do, and she doesn't think it needs to be done because it's an old house, so who fucking cares? So with her attitude, it's transcending down into my children's attitude. Well, why should we help mom? You know, who cares? It's just junk anyway. It's old. Chuck it out. And if you go back into my videos, you will see year after year after year, my stuff is getting ruined. My stuff is getting ruined. My stuff is getting ruined. I build a leaky boat. I build another leaky boat. And today I built another leaky boat. So that's what, leaky boat number 3 or 4? Right? Well, everybody's running around living their lives. You know? My kids don't even want to help me with fucking laundry. I have to pay my son to help me build things so that I can cover the dirt that my landlady doesn't care about. Because that's basically what it boils down to. You can't plant grass on fill. And you can't plant grass on sand. Okay? And they know this. These landlords, they know this. But when it's convenient for them to play dumb, or to play it off like it's an old house, who cares? Don't put no money into it. Don't invest your time. Do the minimal amount that you need to do just to get through it. Well, I live here with my family, rolling around like a sow in all this mud, dust, grit, grime, dirt. That's a pretty tough road to walk on. When your son tells you that you really shouldn't be hiring the neighborhood guys, even though these guys are desperate for money. Because there are no jobs out there. Because the only people, and this is what I'm talking with my dad, so that's why I'm taking it to the camera. Because, sure, you got the BC Liberal government sitting up there talking, you know, well, you know, we're building this and building that. You got the mayor of the city that stimulated the economy with the new city hall, building this and building that. So these are, you got the condo development all throughout the province with, you know, 60% of the buying market coming in from Asian Asian countries. It's not 60% of the indigenous Canadian, regardless of their ethnic heritage. Okay? If you're born into Canada, you become indigenous, right? No, what it is 60% of the Asian market, namely China. and in that sector, right, where they're buying these condos that sure are stimulating the economy and putting people to work to build the condo. And it's a what? I mean, I don't know what it costs to build a condo, but if, $100 million job, well, everybody's working. Well, that's good for those people. But when it comes to the little people in the neighborhood, that a couple, $200-$300 can do something for them, right? Have nothing. Now, we're all people out here. We're just little people. We have nothing. The landlord don't care. Politicians don't care, right? Our neighbors don't care. They don't care. They're just people out. Who cares if I'm outside doing this shit by myself, digging into my own pocket to buy nails and plastic and scrounging around in the neighborhood and stacking my car up like it's a freaking truck to bring home tons and tons and tons of material so that I can build something, so that I can cover up the dirt, the sand, the weeds. So that there's a long-term solution in there. Not just come in with a weed whacker and whack everything down and just turn a blind eye to it because we know it's going to die off and turn into algae anyway, and then it's just going to sprout back up next year, but who cares? And that's why I'm out there by myself, because nobody cares. They care if they get paid, and that's fine, Nothing is free in life. People should pay. And if somebody like me actually finds a little time little money, because I'm behind on my bills. But I'm still paying people to help me in my yard as my landlady's raising my rent and ripping up my front yard. As my kids are saying, fuck you, Mom. You don't pay somebody else, pay me. But thing is, I don't get the same kind of product. Because if I gotta pay you to do something when you live here and you're my child, whether you're my female like my daughter or whether you're my son, if I gotta pay you and then get a bad attitude while I'm paying you for it yet, and you don't even know what the fuck you're doing, because you don't even want to give it a real shot to try, because everywhere we go, nobody cares. Because that's what it boils down to, nobody cares. How are my kids supposed to care about this place if the landlord doesn't care about this place? Why should my kids care if 7 guys, 8 guys got, a day's work out of this place? And if you take it one step further into the concept of daycare, 8 people employed on a part-time basis in the community that have no income outside of a little welfare check, if they're lucky enough to qualify, because some of these people don't even qualify, and they can make a day's work, $100 or whatever it is, because we all know that's just a drop in the bucket in the real world of politics, right? When you're talking fucking $50 billion fucking condo developers, and their stadiums and shit like that, right? Then you care. Oh, we care. But when you're talking about the little guy and the poor family with I don't know what to call my kids. Disrespectful? They're not really that disrespectful unless I challenge them, and then they think they can talk to me like shit. Shut, that's my middle daughter. Shut, I hate you. You bitch. Shut. My youngest, well, whatever. You want to piss me off? Well, I dare you. Whatever. And my son, I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to walk away. Well, I don't want to talk about it either. And like I say, I'm going to say it, I'm going to walk away. So for the rest of them, to help them. Because out there working underneath that plastic, with getting all that freaking fiber shit on me that was on the ground, because plastic, right, when it's rolled up, has static electricity in it. So it picked up all that, whatever was left behind. Because I tried to wash that little shed out as best as I could. 3 times. 2 times, I remember for sure. Last time, really, really good. And there's still crap on the ground. And the raccoons were shitting in that too. So how do I know I don't got that on me right now? Thank you very much. As I'm trying to use the bookshelf and my head to hold up the plastic, trying to make this shed on my own. Because I don't want my stuff getting ruined. And I want to get it out of my yard so people can stop accusing me of being a fucking hoarder. after I made my first boat and it practically sank. So now I have to wash everything again before I put it back and hope that this boat doesn't start to sink. Well, my landlady says, well, who cares? Don't invest any time or money. Save your energy. It's an old house. She knows I'm not going anywhere. And if I do, it'll be like that. And I will still clean up after myself. Because I always have. Regardless. But in the meantime, I live my life for the here and now. And I think, well, gee, it would be nice to have a little daycare maybe. I tell my son yesterday, we were out there arguing over this stuff I brought home, and he had to carry it to the back for me, right? And he was getting mad at me because I was paying another person in the neighborhood money to do stuff that he feels that he could do under the right condition. In other words, if I paid him. Because outside of that, he doesn't see why I'm doing it, because I come inside and I complain about the bills. Turn down the hydro. It's like a $400 freaking hydro bill. Turn it down. Turn off lights, right? I can't give you money because I didn't pay my Visa again. But yet I'm paying somebody else to come in here and frame in windows or work on a shed that hopefully it won't be a leaky boat because I didn't make it. That's the whole point of this rant here. So, okay, I had to fire a guy yesterday. I didn't fire him because he was walking by. And I said, look, my son needs the money. He's in college. He feels if I'm going to pay somebody before I pay a stranger, right, I should be paying maybe him, providing that he could do the job because he needs it. Because he's like 80, 90 grand in debt. 90,000. Did you get the number right? 23 years old, he's $90,000 in debt. That's a lot of debt load for a 23-year-old. Especially with his mother coming up behind him crying, we have no money, I don't know if I'm going to go bankrupt, and blah and blah and blah, but here I am, giving money away. If I'm not doing it that way by paying somebody to do some work that I can't do, or my son didn't want to do, and that's what I told him, you didn't want to do it, so I couldn't wait for you, it has to move on, can't stay out like that forever. I already had a long winter with windows breaking. And I just want to get this crap over with. I ain't got time to fool around. If it costs a couple $100 to get the windows up or whatever it is, so be it. At least it'll get done. One less problem area with morning glory and mud. Something he doesn't realize or appreciate or cares about. Because when it's full of weeds, turns into algae, and becomes polluted with raccoon shit because they're crawling around in there with everything else that's running around in there, he doesn't go in that area. He couldn't care less anymore than my landlord could. So I'm out there today, by myself. I feel like I've been cornered into a corner where I'm being punished. Literally. My son thinks he can tell me what to do. Basically, critique me, right? Just like my daughters think they can critique me. But I don't see none of them. They're not helping me with the grass. I said to my son, well, do I have to pay you for the grass? To cut the grass? I don't mind paying you to try and work on the frame for the greenhouse, or if I want dirt, I have to pay him to go dig for dirt because it's way over there, right? Because he doesn't think dirt is necessary. He thinks we have enough dirt in the yard. Yeah, we do. It's called fill. It's not real dirt. There's a difference between dirt, fill, and sand. My yard is mostly fill and sand with pockets of dirt. And some of that dirt I've already imported into the yard. Or I'm making it. But who cares where the vegetables come from? But I have to pay for that if I need help, because he's done it in the past. And it's a chore. But he's strong. And it builds character, but he doesn't see that yet at this age, 23 years old, $90,000 in debt. I'd be pretty pissed off in life too, right? Especially if you don't even know if you can get a job. And that's someone that's educated. So what about these people running around in the neighborhood that maybe aren't so educated, but can make a pretty good roof? right? Or maybe frame in some windows and, frame in a shed or something like that. I mean, are there talents and skills not important to acknowledge? Because I sure appreciate it. I wish I could pay them more money than what I've paid, personally, and pay it faster to get the job done so we can move on to the next one. But when you live in poverty, you get what you get, basically. And you have to pace yourself through it. And you have to take a lot of criticism because people start judging you. Why, if you're complaining about bills, why are you building? Well, I don't know. I don't know why. I'm selling you a dream, members and friends. I don't even know about this dream anymore. I just know that I can't pack my family out and up and just move out. I just gonna pack up and move out. The only thing that would have to be something very drastic. And I'd still clean up after myself, and my landlady would have 45-day notice, because under the conditions, if I had to move now because I couldn't, like, being cut off welfare like I was in 2003 and just had to pack up and move, you got 30-day notice? Well, my landlord, I worked it out. I had half a month. It was 45 days. And then I gave him $50 a month for a year to pay off the $600 because my rent was $12 in those days. And I cleaned up after myself. I needed those extra 15 days to do that because I lived in that house for 7 years. I'm walking the same tightrope, but I'm still building because I'm not afraid to live my life. And if I'm going to live here, it has to mean something. It can't just be a mud pit with a bunch of selfish teenagers running around not caring. Somebody has to care around here. Hey, John?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah. But it's a real effort to care, man, because everybody else around you don't give a shit, waiting for you to fall flat on your face so they can come in and either scoop up on the rewards of your hard labor or just get the satisfaction that you didn't make it. Why else would people not care? We're busy, but we're not that busy. It doesn't take much to actually care about something, especially if they're your family or you're responsible to them, like as a landlord. Landlords take on houses because they're supposed to care about their tenant. They're supposed to care about their house. A politician represents its community because they're supposed to care about their constituency and their constituents. But I don't think these politicians care about these little guys running around, scooping up a couple $100 here and there, just trying to eke out a living. You get criticized for being a freaking metal recycler homeless. Well, what's the difference between a guy that scrapes out wire, living on the fringe, right, with a guy, trying to get some odd jobs in the neighborhood doing some house repairs? But the majority of the people in the neighborhood are poor, limited income, fixed incomes. And with the economy going out of control where everything's just getting too expensive to even think about buying it, never mind start paying people to work. But that shouldn't stop me from taking care of business at home. And if you've watched any of my videos, you would know I got a big yard with a big problem. And it's not like I can just pack up and move away from the problem, because a new problem will come. But this is the last house I live in. I'm telling everybody, I've been telling it to them for a long time. I even told my landlord when my landlady's husband said, well, you should have been a farmer. You need to be on a farm. I'm like, no, I don't think so. This is my last house. This one's taking the life out of me. Making me sick. That's what it's doing. Well, everybody's standing around watching. Calling me a fool. Except for Mr. Lace. He's my bird. Anyway, that was a rant. We'll just leave it at that.